Hello and welcome to Let's Be Frank. Today we are talking about standing out and how do you stand out, probably in a few different contexts. The reason we decided to talk about this is because I have been advertising for a position in my team and every single CV I get looks the same. And worse than that, people don't even read the instructions for how to apply. So they just send off a CV to an email address that they see without actually answering the questions that I've asked in the application. And I was saying to Herman that the ones that I actually look at are the people who have followed the instructions. So even if there could be some fantastic candidates in the group that just send me their CVs, but the fact that they don't stand out means I overlook them. So we wanted to talk about how do you stand out in, I suppose, a world that's become everyone doing the same thing and being the same.
So can we go back a step and
we
ask
can.
Why is it important to stand out? Why do you want to stand out?
Well, in the situation that I've just explained, I'm probably receiving, hundreds and hundreds of applications, and I don't have the time to go through all of them. So I'm going to pick out the ones that stand out. And those are the ones I'm going to actually spend time on and look at and decide if I want to meet with these people. So that's one of the reasons. In a broader context, and we were thinking with clients and websites, and it's so that you don't look like you're just offering the same thing as everybody else, and that you've copied a template that says this is how you tell clients who you are and what you do. And
And as a person, just as an individual, is it important to stand out as an individual?
Yes. Yeah, because I've got a weird little personal motto that boring is boring, and I've always kind of enjoyed being a little bit quirky and a little bit different, and I like people who are quirky and different and have something that makes them unique and not like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that we really advocate in terms of celebrating everyone's weirdness.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a little weird.
Yeah.
And kind of just be you.
Yeah.
And not, first of all, I think, for me and my personal brand in terms of being authentic.
Yeah.
So the moment that you force yourself to behave in a certain way, or to try and blend in and kind of sit there in the pack, I don't think that that's authentic enough.
Yeah, and it makes people not necessarily trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah, flaws make you more genuine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are lots of reasons why I agree with you that you want to stand out.
Mm.
So you could stand out by just wearing a very different outfit.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of standout that we're talking
Yeah.
about. If that's really you and that makes you feel comfortable, then go for it. But we want people to stand out, and we think it's important. I think it's important for people to stand out in terms of their authentic self.
Yeah.
We see that, as you say, right through from the CV that is submitted, that they all look so...
I have to double check the names.
I'm hardworking and I'm honest and I'm
diligent
dependable and I'm...
punctual. They just throw
Yes.
out the words that you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
I have to check the names to see that I'm not looking at the same application I've already been through, because it just looks the same. The format of the CV, black text on a white Word document, the way they write their name on the top and the cover letter, it all looks the same.
and I mean, those things already don't bode well for the type of position that you're advertising.
No, so if anyone of you that wants to apply for the position is watching this, please just send me something different and I'll look at it. Yeah.
So what are ways that you think people can stand out?
So I'm going to use myself as an example here. When I came for my interview here, I actually brought 2 CVs with me and I think that was a mistake. I think I should have just brought the one that I felt was more me, which was the more fun one. But I interviewed with Herman and our HR director, and we don't call him that. He's our head of people. And I brought both CVs. I brought the stock standard black text on white 3-pager, and then I brought a more fun, colourful, formatted CV, and I put them both on the table, and I laughed because Herman immediately went for the colourful, fun one, and Darby went for the more stock standard one. And I think he's used to that because he looks at CVs all the time, and that's what he's used to. So, but yeah, I think I should have just come with the one that I liked, the one that was more me.
Yeah, look, I think it's important to from the word go is just be yourself.
Yeah.
Because I've also in the past experienced where you employ somebody based on a CV, and then the person that shows up is not the same person that's on the CV.
Yeah.
Which leads to a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
So that's one reason.
Yeah.
We're talking about from a job and a job application point of view, why it's important to stand out. I think just from a personal growth point of view, it's important to stand out. And when I say stand out, I don't necessarily mean that you've got to be the most vocal or dye your hair purple.
Yeah.
Although I worked with a person, and he's very successful now, and as a CEO of a huge company, and he used to have a different hair color every 2 or 3 weeks. I'm talking about yellow, and green, and blue, and red, and purple.
I mean, that does make you stand out. That does make you stand out. But I think we're talking more personality and the real. Yeah.
You. So we're not saying that in order to stand out you have to be loud.
Yeah.
Always cracking jokes, any of those things.
Yeah.
That you typically think, well, that'll make you stand out. We talk about stand out in what is authentically you.
Yeah.
If you are the more quiet, reserved type, doesn't say much, don't try and force and change that.
Yeah.
But you can stand out with those character traits as well.
So I think it's more about not trying to fit into any kind of mold or what people expect of you. It's just being you. Yeah.
Don't make assumptions of what is expected of you.
Yeah.
Because just going back to the example of the CVs, the boring black and white 3-page, very specific format.
Yeah.
People anticipate, even though you've given clear instructions to what that application should look like.
Yeah.
And well, it is a great way to just disqualify a whole lot of people. Well, if you don't even read the instructions, don't expect us to bother to even look at the CV that you submitted. But I think it's about those expectations that people have as well. Expectations of what it will be like in a workplace, or what it should be like in a workplace, or what they're used to. And I think that the best way to grow personally is to just be comfortable with who you are and be that person.
Yeah. And the same goes for companies and company personalities. I just think about the fact that we had an open day for interns once, and everyone kind of came in jeans and a t-shirt because they got that vibe from us. They saw on the website that that's the kind of company that we are. And one guy rocked up in a brand new suit that he had bought, and I just thought that was so funny because so it follows through to companies as well, that you must kind of live your brand and Yeah.
Which is something we kind of living in a world where if a brand is not out there in your face, with a website and social media presence, etc., and a whole host of other things, you obviously compete with so many other companies out there, that you have to make sure that it's the correct message that you convey there, and that you create the real authentic picture of what people are going to find on the inside.
Yeah. So don't you find it quite funny though that we're saying like that to actually be successful in today's world you need to stand out because there's so much noise and whatever, but there's a formula for everything. So you need to be willing to not follow the formula, because I mean, I'm just thinking about in terms of building a website. You have to have a home page, an about us, a services page, a contact us, and but that's kind of the formula and it's the expectation. And even I find myself, if I go to a website and I don't find one of those pages, I think, well, where's their about us page? I mean, I'm looking for it. Why isn't it there? And I mean, there's some great examples of websites that don't follow the formula, but it just feels like 90% of us do.
I think in that sense it's kind of falling into that best practices trap.
Yes.
And just going with what you think is the correct thing to do.
Yeah. So how do you find the balance? Because like I say, some people expect that, and maybe they'll come to your website and they'll be like, oh, but it's not what I expected, so I'm not interested. Or is the answer to that those are not the type of people that we want to engage with? We want to engage with the people that do appreciate the standout factor and the...
Well, I certainly think that it's a question of you have to have the guts to just be yourself.
Different.
To just be different if you are different from the rest. If you are just a corporate and you kind of have to play by those rules, I don't know that they have to, but then that's fine. But certainly just be a good reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
As a business, and remember, business is not a separate entity.
Yeah.
Business is just a collection of people.
Individuals, yeah.
Individuals.
Made up of individuals.
That work together towards a common goal. So it has to reflect kind of the individuals in that business as well.
Well, I
and
mean
obviously the bigger the organization is, the more complicated it becomes to be a really true reflection of all the people.
Yeah. That brings us to back to our formula, which we refer back to a lot, is that we feel is a really great reflection of our company and the individuals within our company. I mean, that kind of sums up who we are and how we work and what we're working towards, and that goal of being simple, significant, with skin in the game. I mean, that's kind of sums up our whole work philosophy as FiveFriday, and encompasses all those individual personalities that we have working here.
And of course it was co-created. Everyone had a say and input in it. So it is a great, and we certainly hope that reflects throughout everything that we do. Right down to the individuals. Because the individuals very much part of the creation of it, but if you look at the different elements of it, there's a lot of focus on the individuals there as well. Yes, there's a focus on the collective and but what is my responsibility within the collective, and what is expected of me. And I certainly don't want anyone to be a different kind of person or a different version of themselves here at the office than what they are when they're outside of the workplace. I think those old stereotypes are long gone, in terms of you have to put your best foot forward all the time, and you have to, we certainly hope people will be professional all the time, but we also want to understand and know when you're having a really shitty day.
Yeah. We're all human and we all have them.
And admit it, you know.
Yeah.
I think that those kind of things were, well, sadly, I think it's still not tolerated in some organizations where there's absolutely no, I wouldn't say no empathy, but certainly
acceptance maybe of
or less empathy for the individual. But these things contribute to all the elements that make you as a human being, and hopefully will make you successful as a human being. When I say successful as a human being, I mean that you will live a fulfilling life, and that you will, get as much joy out of life, and not just out of a job.
Yeah.
Which is something which I know it's a little bit off topic, but making sure that you end up in a place, in a position where you can really grow and be the best version of yourself is so important.
Yeah.
And we want to see that from people right from the beginning, right through the end of our relationship with them, because it is a natural part of life. And I think that's why it's important for me to stand out.
Yeah. So I think also, in line with being you and being authentic, sometimes standing out does require a little bit of effort. So for me, with the CVs and things like that, it's a little bit of effort that you need to put in to stand out. You can't just be the same as everyone else and do the same and do the bare minimum. I also think back to when we were advertising for a position about a year ago, and the one candidate actually went to the effort of looking at my LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn profile, actually looking at specifics and pointing them out in his cover letter to us. That I read your LinkedIn profile and I really like this philosophy and blah. And something as simple as that, it's going to take you 5 minutes to do something that's going to set you apart from the other hundreds of people that are applying for the same position as you.
Yeah.
So, that's just a little tip for people for how to stand out when you're applying for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, one of the other things that I strongly believe in is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So if you stand out, we kind of make the assumption that you're going to stand out in lots of other ways as well. Yeah. And that's really what we want, what we hope for.
Yeah.
So good luck with
if any of the potential candidates are watching this video, please don't send me a black and white CV and a generic cover letter that you send to the other 700 companies you applied for.
And also follow the instructions.
Yeah.
It's a trap, people. It's like that for a reason.
But thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.